You are listening to The Underground Subway with host David Alston, a podcast dedicated to giving you the strategies to live a free and better life. Here is David Alston.
Hi, I'm David Alston, host of the Underground Subway. Thank you for joining us for this, what I believe will be a power-packed podcast dedicated to helping you, myself, others, and the next generation to live a better and successful life. The Underground Subway gets its name, as I always share with you, from the Underground Railroad. My grandmother, who happened to be first cousins with Harriet Tubman, Harriet led so many people to freedom when the Underground Railroad. Well, we're in 2022, so we're not doing the Underground Railroad, we're doing the Underground Subway. But it's the same concept in that we are leading people to freedom, leading people to liberty. Well, what does that mean? In order to be liberated, that means that you have the ability to think, function, move, operate without restraints. What is holding you back? What is restraining you or stopping you from living a successful and better life? This podcast lays on the table everything that you need to know to give you the tools and strategies to live a better and successful life. Well, I have a wonderful guest with me for this podcast. I'm excited to welcome to the Underground Subway, Mr. Brad Dalton. He is a #1 best-selling author of a book called The DNA of a Winner. He is a speaker. He is an award-winning coach. And Brad has consented to come and to talk to us today on the Underground Subway about what we need to do to be better. Thank you so much for joining us on the Underground Subway, Brad.
Man, I am so excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, buddy.
All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get right into what the DNA of a winner is.
Awesome. Well, I'm Brad Dalton. I'm the best-selling author. I'm the best self-catalyst speaker, host of the Best Self podcast, career educator, husband to a wife that is far cooler than I am, dad to 2 awesome boys, one of which is on the autism spectrum and is a big part of my success road. And yeah, I am a massive advocate for the overlooked, the unjustly underestimated, and an advocate for anybody that wants to become the best version of themselves. And so what I love your juice, man. I love when you reached out, I was like, yeah, let's do this thing.
All right. Well, thank you, buddy, for joining me. Let me get right into it because I want to ask you a question right off the top. I'm currently living in North Carolina, but I was born and raised in Philadelphia. And living in Philadelphia, one of my favorite movies of all time happens to be, outside of Jaws and Shawshank Redemption and John Wick. I love those action movies, but one of the movies I fell in love with was actually named Philadelphia. And in the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington is an attorney, and he asks one of the witnesses, he says, explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. And so my first question to you, I want you to explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. What do you mean when you say self-catalyst? What is that? What does that mean?
It means that you don't need someone else's permission to have a great day today. You don't need someone else's permission to have an edge in life. You don't need someone else's permission to know what it is you're supposed to do today. Your best self is something that's inside you. And the cool part about it is it's unique to you. It's you. You have your own blueprint for success. You have your own way. You have your own sense of being. You don't have to be like someone else. You don't have to mimic your buddy or the popular kid or the clown or the one that the teacher always calls on or whatever. If I'm talking to a 6-year-old, you don't have to be like anybody else because no one else can be like you. You weren't born to star in someone else's movie. You were born to star in your movie. You are the catalyst, which means you are the starter. You are the engine. You are the gas pedal. You are whatever that is to your own life. And you don't need anyone else to push you along because no one can do it the way you do it. you are an expert at your own extraordinary.
Wow, that is good. I'm ready to run through a wall already. You say that they say that for a 6-year-old. Is it a struggle? Is it a struggle for you to motivate uh the younger generation, or is it a struggle for you to motivate, as a motivator? You're a motivator. Anyone can listen
Hmm.
to you and tell you're a motivator. That's one of the things. I
Hmm.
was a football coach, and I didn't win games because of my ability to draw out X's and O's. I won games because of my ability to motivate the guys and get them to run through a wall for me. But is it difficult for you to motivate those that have already lived a longer life? Or do you find yourself, is it easier to motivate uh, the children?
Well, it's not a one size fits all because you grew up in Philadelphia. Someone that grew up in Montana might have different experiences, but or someone that grew up in an inner city, maybe a little more tougher, maybe possibly a more rundown area versus a gated community.
Hmm.
They're all different, but I would say in general it's tougher to get a more seasoned, more been around the block type of cat to change than it is for a young one. I mean, a young one, we don't, you, me, and we don't come into this world with beliefs. We don't come in with with behaviors. We have no idea what racism is. We have no idea what fear is. I mean, we're fearless when we're young, but somewhere along the way, someone jumped on you that didn't have a growth mindset, or someone just maybe they had good intentions, but if you get stuck in the wrong educational classroom for an entire year, or if you get stuck with one coach who has good intentions but doesn't get it for a full year, or any of those things, and those people are generally volunteers or people that got into those fields because they care. So I'm not downing them. I'm also a lifetime coach,
Hmm.
and so I'm not down on them. But sometimes these kind of experiences, fear and lack of belief, and these are all learned behaviors.
Exactly.
These are all learned behaviors. So those things happen, and if they don't get rectified early, they become entrenched and just ingrained into us.
Hmm.
And so we naturally default to those things. And so yeah, as you get older, if those things haven't been rerouted, it just keeps getting worse. And so ultimately it takes someone either surrounding themselves with, I always say that we assimilate to whom we associate. If we can get around the right people, or it could be you and me, and we just, man, we hit rock bottom. I mean, how many people have you talked to? I know I've talked to a ton that their success rate ultimately came about when they hit rock bottom. It wasn't when they
Exactly.
were on a pedestal at the top. They hit the bottom. So yeah, that's, I
You're
don't, I
right.
hope that answers
Yeah,
the
it,
question.
it it did. What do you think is number one in your years of experience? What's one of the key uh obstacles that you notice in those that have not achieved their success?
Well, a lot of times it's our systems. And when I say systems, it's the 6 inches between our ears.
Okay, got you.
And it can be a handful of things. Like I said, it's not a one size fits all thing, but a lot of people simply don't think like a winner.
Hmm.
They have winner in them. It's running in their veins. But again, we assimilate to whom we associate. And if we're surrounded by losers, we tend to gravitate towards losers. And by losers, I mean loser mentality. Just because you have a loser mentality doesn't make you a loser. But uh, it almost always goes back to mindset. But I'll also add in there that a lot of people, they don't have the habits of a champion. They don't have the
Wow.
habits of a winner. And it's not that they can't be a winner, it's that they, for instance, I'll tell you, David, I'm more of a, I think goals are really important. I really do. But I would be, I would much rather be growth conscious than goal conscious. I would
Okay.
much rather focus on habits that are going to have me grow. Success to me is, am I trending in the direction of whatever it is I want to be, my desired identity, my desired behavior? Am I trending that direction? Whereas people that are stuck on their goals, it's like we all need a vision, we all need goals, but sometimes people get married to those things, and even when you get there, you plateau.
Right.
Uh, you,
Exactly.
you yeah, and you kind of fry. So I generally, with especially with all groups, but a lot of times it's a lot easier to focus on the habits because those are small daily. That's focusing on the daily. That's getting better on the daily.
Hmm.
And when people can have small wins, small milestones, meet those mile markers, I call them, on the success road,
Hmm.
it doesn't seem as daunting.
Right, right. What are some of the what? Give us some examples of the habits of a winner. Your book, your book talks about the DNA of a winner. Give us some examples of what some habits that a winner has, and you can even, if you like, what are some habits of a loser
Sure,
outside of surrounding yourself with other people with loser mentality.
sure. Well, a winner is a tough-minded optimist. Being positive doesn't mean that you ignore the negatives or you ignore the setbacks. Being positive means you overcome those despite the setbacks, despite the obstacles. See if you're if you're a success road minded person, meaning success isn't the end of the road, success is the road. If you understand that, if you buy into that, if you buy into being on the success road and that it's not a destination, it is the road, you know that there's going to be disruption. You know that there's going to be inconvenience. You know that there's going to be struggle and friction. And you don't run away from them. It's not as, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's some that are bigger than others, but when you know the road and you buy into the road, you're not gonna go to pity city and you're not gonna stay there. You're not gonna get the victimitis card and make that your badge. You're not gonna sit on blame. You're not gonna sit on fear. You're not gonna sit on those things quite as long because we know that growth requires us to get out of our comfort zone, which means it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have us falling on our face a little bit at times. So I would say that the winner, it's not at any one moment. It's just your general approach in life. I'm just going to be the best version of me. I'm gonna slay this day the best I can. I'm well aware that things aren't going to go my way, but I can tell you what, I'm never going to give up on myself. I'm never going to give up on my dreams. I'm never going to give up on my integrity. I know that my way of life has me winning. Success is my only way. That's my only option. And success one day is going to look different than it will the next.
Brad,
Success is,
go ahead,
yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead, because you're probably going to
No, get
answer my
it.
question.
Get it.
I
Go
was
for it.
I was going to ask you what is success? I mean, because someone may say, I mentioned growing up in Philadelphia. I grew up in the middle of Philadelphia in what they would call the hood. Someone
Mm-hmm.
in the hood,
Mm-hmm.
their idea of success is uh, financial money. Is that
Right.
success, or can it be? Is it something broader than just the number of zeros in your bank account?
Right. I love that question, man. You are slaying it. Uh, I success isn't a number. A number is a thing, and we can't tie success to things. Success is a matter of becoming. We want to become a different kind of beast. We
Okay.
want to become a different kind of animal. We want to become something that isn't going to blend in. The greatest things in life are phenomenal because they didn't blend in. And again, the coolest part about this is you, me, and we all have something unique about us. No one has our unique blueprint. Nobody looks like us. We
Mm-hmm.
all have unique talents and different ways to be happy and different things we can implement. Number, any kind of number, that is a destination goal. It's, and I guarantee you, I can promise you, if you focus on becoming, if you make one of your daily habits simply to become in the direction of your desired identity, don't get tied to things, get tied to behaviors and habits that will allow you to get closer to those things. Because
Right.
once you get to those things, that doesn't make you a better person. I mean, we're talking about we always want to bet on us and we want to invest in us, but we want to live in a way that's going to allow our community to benefit. We
Mm-hmm.
want to live a servant leadership lifestyle. And to be a servant leader, we've got to focus on not just ourselves, but adding value to others. By adding value to others, we add value to ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Skating life alone is not fun.
Right.
That's a short-term plan. That's not sustainable. Man, there is no better feeling. I don't know how many of you, like you and or your listeners, I mean, if you've ever gone to a homeless shelter, or if you've ever, man, just done some sort of random act of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a homeless shelter. It could be someone in the grocery store. They were short by $2 and you gave them $2.
Mm-hmm.
Or something just, I'm throwing out wild different things, but if you've ever done some sort of rant, it could be picking up someone's books at the
Mm-hmm.
school, or someone just dropped a file and you help them pick it up. It's like it was a race to get to that file, race to get, and you helped them pick it up. Man, it wasn't just that you picked up the file. It was that, man, they saw how excited you were to do that. And the cool part about all this, and again, take another example. I'm in a restaurant, and the table next to me, it could be a 6-year-old, it could be a 66-year-old, but they see how I'm treating the waitress every time she's at my table. I
Right.
call her by her name. She has a tag, Brenda. Man, awesome job, Brenda. Thank you so much. Or every time I talk to her, I say please or thank you. Or it's the way I'm being kind. I didn't have to do that, but other people see it. And then they see how good Brenda feels. And then maybe it's just 1 out of the 4 at that table. That is such a success. That is fantastic. That is winning in life by design, not just for you, but your whole community. It's
Exactly.
incredible, David.
Right. Brad, let me put you on the spot. Never done this before. I promise you this is a first. So you're the guinea pig for this. I want to challenge you to pick. I'm going to give you 2 options, and I want you to pick an option. Tell us why you're going to pick this option, and then follow through.
Bring
I
it.
want you to pick Brad from 20 years ago
Mm.
or Brad 20 years from now. Pick one, talk to either one of them. What would you say to the Brad of 20 years ago when you're a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
or the Brad 20 years from now? What would you say to either or?
I'll talk to the one 20 years ago.
Okay. Why did you pick that one?
Well, I didn't believe in myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a really good kid. I was the guy that would give the playground duty a hug, and all my teachers liked me, and I was a really good son and feel like a good friend. But uh, I didn't stick up for myself. I wasn't confident. I had low self esteem. I wanted to be other people. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be in circles that didn't want me. And uh, I mean, thank goodness I didn't do anything crazy, David.
Well,
I mean,
talk talk to that young fella.
yeah, well, just be you, buddy. Just be the best version of you. The problem is if you're that kiddo, you're 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 trying so hard to be something you're not. You're not even working to your own strengths. You are likable just the way you are. You are fantastic. You roll out of bed and you piss excellence. You roll out of bed fantastic. You don't need to be like anybody else. You've already got it in the tank. And if people that you're desiring to hang out with don't recognize that, then they're lost, man. They're
Mhm.
lost. And the thing about this and a lot of other things in life is we're all looking for the right fit. And
Exactly.
it doesn't make them a bad person if you're not a fit for them or they're not a fit for you. It just means that at this stage in their life, you're not what they're looking for and they're not what you're looking for. So you just go out and you slay this day. people are going to notice. The right kind of people are going to notice. The kind of people that belong in your circle are going to notice. And life is going to be good. It's going to reduce stress. You're going to be happy. You're going to be you. And when you're yourself, you're pretty freaking awesome.
All right. I like that. How important is it not to become intimidated by the success of other people doing what you do?
Uh, I don't ever feel that. Um, I admire them. In fact, I seek that stuff out. I seek out people. One, I never want to be the smartest guy in any room.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn. If I'm in a room where I'm the big dog and I'm the only one in there that's like spitting out solid nuggets and gems and all that stuff, I feel like that's a wasted day for me personally.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm not intimidated by that at all. Every moment, if you do get in a room or if you get on a panel or whatever, conference event, and you are with a bunch of other superstars, and maybe they slay it a little bit more, the reception was a little bit more with them, that's okay. One, I was probably in the audience just burning a hole in my paper. I'm never going to be too old to learn. And so I got something out of that, and I learned a lot out of it. What is it that they did that I could put into my own scheme? Maybe it's not me. Maybe I can't do exactly the way they do it. But and this is the thing too, David. Like, one thing I've noticed is that it's not necessarily the best teachers, the best presenters, the best coaches, the best parents, the best at what they do. It's not necessarily about what they know or what they teach or what they present. It's how they teach what they teach. It's how they present what they present. So, yeah, that's a long-winded answer, but I really don't get intimidated. It's not hard for me because I'm into the success road. I'm into learning. And I know that, I know that my story is always going to be getting written.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, this is an opportunity for my story to grow. This is an opportunity for me to expand. And that to me is sexy.
Wow. Yes. I agree. I agree with you 100%. And it's just amazing that you can't get intimidated, because no matter, even though you are doing what I do and you may have greater results, greater numbers, etc., you can't do it like I do it, because I'm the only one that brings me to the table.
Exactly.
And so I agree with you. We've got to press it. How important is it to drive that message home to the next generation? Because we got to press that into them, that they are unique, that they're one of a kind. Although you say that you have two wonderful sons, and even if they look like little, what do they call little mini me's, they're still, they have your DNA, but they have their own DNA of a winner.
Yep. No, that's imperative. It's imperative. I love that you bring that up because I live in America, but I
Mhm.
think it's like this all over the world, just having been in conversations and conferences and whatnot. Everyone's so into content. And
Mhm.
I agree, man, science and English and math and history and fitness. Psychology. I agree. All that stuff is so important. But man, some people will go 6 years old to 18 years old and never have a class that teaches them how to think.
Right.
I didn't. And
Right.
I'm a career educator. I see it. There's no classes that seriously just teach you how to think like a champion, like a winner, whatever you want to
Mhm.
call it. There's no, and yeah, man. And the other thing is there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure in every lane. You could talk to an exec for a Fortune 500. You could talk to a high school baseball coach. You could talk to an elementary second grade teacher. All this pressure being put around destination goals.
Mhm.
And so when you're doing that stuff, you're teaching to the test. You're teaching to the W. You're teaching to bottom lines. And the bottom line is not your finish line.
Mhm.
And so there's all this pressure. So I really think that in general, not just in one lane. In a lot of lanes, people have their priorities out of whack because they're not teaching people how to think, and it starts at an early age. People
Mm-hmm.
who get it are growth minded. People who get it are into the success road, and that creates a happier, just as successful, cool with failing, cool with getting this wrong version of
Right,
us.
right. And because I can put pressure on you based on what my idea of success is.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm telling you know, if I feel as though success is ABC oriented, and I put pressure on you to get the test right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you feel me. You feel me.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing about it is, man, is no one's happy in those scenarios
Right.
because those coaches, teachers, execs, whoever in whatever lane, they also feel like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's feeling better. I mean, what's it going to take for us to feel better? I mean, it creates perfectionists.
That's true. That's true.
It creates perfectionists.
And it's imperative that we, you know, that we become happy and self-satisfied, you know, like you mentioned when we started, that self-catalyst, it has to begin inside of us.
Yep.
I really agree with that. Well, my friend, time really flies when you're having fun. And of all of my podcasts, I have enjoyed this one. I hate to put others on the spot and say the best, so I'll just say I've enjoyed this one tremendously.
Hey, man, I had a great time. That was fast.
Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. The time really flies by fast. Well, they say time flies when you're having fun. So I definitely had fun. One more question for you before you go. Would you be willing in the future to come back and we can do this again?
Why not?
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I'll give you a few seconds. You like to say something before you head out?
You bet. I would just like to say to your listeners, one, keep listening to Big Dog here. He does a great job. His head's and his heart are in the right place. Definitely a soul-based leader that we've been having a chat with today. I want to invest all of you to, or encourage all of you to invest in yourself. The best investment you will ever make is the one you make in yourself. You invest in you, and everybody around you gets better. Everyone benefits from your overflow. So I would say also if you're looking to if you liked this stuff, if any of this stuff sticks, feel free to reach out to me at brad@braddaltonspeaks.com. brad@braddaltonspeaks.com. That's my email address. I'll get right back to you directly. And you can follow me on Instagram. I'm sure we'll attach all that stuff. So
Yes, yes.
anyway, thank you, buddy, and I want to thank your listeners.
Thank you, Brad. Yes, my everyone that's listening, my friends, look at the information. Uh, get in touch with Brad. This was powerful, a tremendous speaker, just full of passion. You can hear the passion in his voice for what he does. Uh, I'm excited about this particular opportunity that we had to chat with Brad. Get with him, get his material. Listen, my friends, this was amazing. This was powerful. I want to challenge you to go back into this podcast and re-listen to everything. And you know, Brad, what's that last thing you said we had to do? Invest in ourselves. I want to challenge you to do that. Read, get the material, do what you have to do to make yourself better. Listen, as time is running out on the underground subway, before we go, again, I definitely one final time, I want to give a shout out and thank my guest, Brad Dalton, who really rocked this underground subway. He really blew it up. I was, you know, normally I have my questions together. But I was just so into what he was doing that I had to remember that we're doing a podcast. I was about to put some shoulder pads on and go to work and do something. So listen, my friends, before we end this podcast, before we go, I want to issue one final challenge to you. I want to issue a challenge to you tonight. Before you go to bed, I want to challenge you. Go find a mirror. Look yourself right in the eyes. Just stare yourself in the eyes. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Today, did I invest in myself? Did I invest in myself to become a better person? Or did I waste another day? Think about that. We don't have any more time to waste. On tomorrow, get busy investing in yourself to make the world a better place. We'll see you next time. I'm David Austin. We'll see you next time right here on the Underground Subway.